Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. Yeah. You are now tuned into the Matthew and Rizzle show. Yeah. Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. Yeah. You are now tuned into the Matthew and Rizzle show. Yeah. Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. You are now tuned into the Matthew and Rizzle show. Yeah. Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. You are now tuned into the Matthew and Rizzle show. Yeah.
What's up with you?
Oh, tired as hell after that long weekend. Ended up having to work all day Thursday or Saturday, but stoked. Next week is Non-Fungible conference over in Lisbon. So
Oh, right.
that's a bright spot. It probably couldn't happen at a better time. Twitter is like a fucking trailer park.
Right. Yo, seriously.
Yeah, let's get into it. Yeah. So welcome back, boys and girls, guys and gals. It's Matthew, aka Nifty Time, and my dude Rizzle, and we have a couple really exciting. I don't know if they're exciting, but a couple fun things to talk about at least. Dude Rizzle, where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the good stuff or the bad stuff first?
Let's start with the bad stuff, man. Yeah, I mean, the bad stuff is kind of fun to talk about too, because the like, I feel like the dumpster fire that as you referred to it before we started recording, that is like Twitter right now, is just when the scammers and like the grifting and whatever, whenever it like gets so bad, it feels like it always gets worse. And it's like when I was like back in the early days, like day trade and everything, I had this like, thing that I always sort of said to myself. I'm like, man, whenever you think it can't go lower, it can like always go lower. Like it can go lower than you ever expected it to go. And I feel like that's sort of what's going on in the space right now. I'm like, dude, okay, like, it was Pauly, hit the meme cycle, and a bunch of people just sent him a bunch of ETH for, the sake of, I don't even know what, man, just memeing nothingness or whatever. But then, it just like, I feel like it ignited this like these parallel dumpster fires of like panhandlers on Twitter. And I'm just like scrolling through my feed. I'm like, dude, this is what we've been reduced to. Like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, there's this one picture I saw, just that like mutant Kevin meme, him at that craps table with the hangover folks, just like like pure degeneracy. It's a pretty apt descriptor of like where we're at. And
what's your take, man? Like I'm like, I we've been around in this space long enough to see a lot of stupid money fly around for like a lot of stupid things, and a lot of it like goes back to just something sort of hitting the meme cycle type of thing. And I feel like those things are to be expected, but I'm like, damn, dude, the volume of people just sending people money. I'm like, and it doesn't, it would be different if it appeared like altruistic, but it certainly doesn't, man. It seems more of a, like what you said, like pure degeneracy, like maybe hoping they just get added to some pre-sale list or some shit. Like, what's your take, dude?
it's that. I mean, the space there's like a strong element of gamblers that like to gamble, and this is an always open 24/7 365 casino, and like it's just a fact of nature for this space. And it just seems like we're just seeing more and more like what's the gambling term even, all ends by folks, it seems like. But the problem is you have these quote unquote like influencers. Most of them are just like clout farming, like this Andrew Wang character. He was just like, yo, let me help this person that has cancer or something. Like, they're my friend, like I talked to their fake art teacher or didn't, whatever. Like, let's send them like over $100,000. And then he was just like, yo, hold on. Trying to get in front of this. It was actually a scam. Oh my goodness. It seems like they stole art and were like fronting like they were an art. Like, and then those folks bring in all the degen gamblers. They're like, yo, let's all throw our money into this because like this influencers here, and like we know they're going to attract other people, so like numbers going to go up. Maybe I can make some money, and it's like that vicious circle of folks that do have clout that are either intentionally just trying to get engagement or trying to act like they aren't influencers and be like, oh, I'm gonna go into Nakamigos. And it's like, okay, just buy what you love though. And like, don't worry about it. I'm just like one other collector of many. And it's like, bro, you have all the eyes on you. People, for whatever reason, respect you or follow you. Don't act like there's nothing there. And I forget who it was. There's someone else had like a vicious critique of Beeple because Beeple's like leaning into all these like fucking degen shitcoin memes and like doing his dailies about them and trying to act like, oh, I'm just doing the art or whatever. Like, don't take this as an endorsement. Someone was just like, bro, you are gasoline. You can do anything, and this is what you're creating. Please don't act indifferent to it. At least own it. You know what I mean? And I feel like that writ large is how we can view all these other influencer folks just acting like everyone else has agency and they have zero to very little to play in the shenanigans. And a lot of those folks need to grow up, to be straight up.
Yeah, dude, it's weird to see like the levels of I don't know, expertise, or that's not like quite the right word, but by like pockets of the community, because like the people who've been around for a while see like Andrew Wang do something like this, and there's just like a collective groan. There's just like, oh God, not this dude again. And there's like a lot of like those types of influencers doing influencer type of things. And I feel like a lot of people who've been around for a while are pretty like well attuned to what's going on right now. And like, sort of get the between the lines, like type of thing. Like you're just saying is like, all right, come on now. Like seeing this type of thing a million times, sometimes from that person specifically, like a million times. And we all know where this heads, but then we've got like the other side of the coin, man. That is, it just seems like the bar has gotten so low for like the grifters. It was like, in the beginning, there were like few grifters and they had to make like what looked like a, respectable project at least in order to like pull off their thing. And now we've just whittled it all down to like, yo, send me some money. I might do a thing, but maybe not. Like, damn, man, that escalated quickly. Or de-escalate or whatever, like plummeted to hell.
Yeah, we went to hell real quick. We were like, oh shit. I didn't know the next stop was hell. Shit, I would have got off the bus earlier. Yeah, but I mean, the good thing is at least we can just like spectate and we're not forced to participate or whatever. That would be the absolute worst, obviously. But
honestly, it's fascinating to watch, man. Like they're just sort of as the like, sort of mainstream dynamics change in the space now, because now I feel like, well, not even recently, like the space is so big that it's got away from like the sort of core community that created it. And there's like these mainstream or mainer stream, like hype cycles that go on within it. And man, to be on the sideline and watch everyone just sort of run back and forth from like these crazy things, it does give you like the PFP craze vibes, right? Except like this is like way more boring to me because I'm like, I don't know, at least like back then you open up Twitter and the next day everyone was like a different animal, and like that was like kind of crazy and entertaining for a little while. But this isn't even like that fun, man. It's just like it just seems so like empty.
yeah, it's not highlighting anything new, right? Like at least before it's like, okay, well, at least PFP is like maybe there's this like identity layer that you can think about that's like intellectually interesting, and maybe something will come along that'll stick. And out of that, I guess like punks really, really solidified themselves as an interesting project and like an interesting collector base for the most part. But like with these, send me your ETH grifts, it's like, all right, yeah, like since day one, for everyone that's been in this space, like, yeah, we can send money to everyone. Like, this is not interesting, and get like an airdrop back. Like, there's nothing new. There's zero new coming from this, and that's the most like insulting part. It's like, okay, we'll just wait for something else to happen, I guess. But On
Dude,
the
the
other
flip side of
side,
the
oh, yeah.
coin is
I
just
was
real
about to
quick,
say
man.
something.
I'm like, the flip side is, dude, like, at least we cut the bullshit. At least the grifters are like, just send me your money. Like, I'm not even gonna try anymore. Just fucking send me the money.
Yeah, yeah, it's whatever. And then for me, it's like, okay, like this is a great signal to just like unplug and go out and do something. And that's why like next week the non-fungible conference over in Lisbon's happening, and it's like hell yeah, like be able to disconnect largely, meet up with a whole bunch of folks, including like Sky Gope is going to be there. I haven't met that dude in real life yet. A few other folks like that. I'm really excited for that. So, I
Well,
mean,
dude,
you know
this
you're
is
not going to
not
miss
your first.
anything when you meet
This
up
is
with
not your
those
first
folks.
time in Lisbon, right?
First time in Lisbon, yeah.
Oh, it is.
Second times in Europe. Like last year, I was in UK. That was the first time in Europe. This is
Oh, God.
second time, and like I guess it's more proper Europe or something like that. Please don't get offended if I say anything wrong to folks.
Yo, that's exciting, man. Is there anything specific going on out there that you're like most excited to hit up or do, or people you're looking forward to seeing, man? That Lisbon has been on my short list for a couple years now, and it's just never really fit in the travel plans, but I'll get there at some point.
Carlos Marcial is over there. I haven't met
Oh,
him since
cool.
I was down in Mexico City. Like he had like moved his whole family out there. Really excited to reunite with
That's right.
him. All the other artists, the Basilius and like the Cult Crypto Art crew is going to be there. So like we're
Oh,
gonna
cool.
have a whole bunch of fun. And like I said, like Sky Gope is my dude. Like being able to finally meet up with that guy and grab some drinks. That's what I'm most looking forward to. The meetups. I'm gonna hit up the conference too. Some of the talks I heard are pretty good. But like Luke from Non-Fungibles
Cool.
is throwing a little dinner as soon as we land. So excited to link up with him and his crew as well. So yeah, just gonna be a bunch of time spent talking, linking, drinking, eating good food, eating really good food from what I hear.
This is one of like very few events that I routinely get FOMO about anymore because I feel like it definitely attracts a crowd that I want to hang out with, and you're giving me FOMO right now, man. All those people are so cool, and I haven't actually had the opportunity to meet a whole bunch of them. So I'll be out in Spain for NFT Crossroads, and so I'm hoping there's some overlap in some of that audience that makes it out that way in mid-July and everything. So that's been, I was out there once last year for the same conference, and had the opportunity to hang out with Skeeny and met a bunch of like really awesome people. So but man, I would love to just build more like international conference stops like in my normal travel rotation or whatever, as it like has sort of become over the years now, because I feel like, you know, we talk about a lot of these events being high school reunions or whatever, but there's only like minimal overlap between like the people who actually make the trip out to the US. So it would
Yep.
be cool to like get my high school reunions in like a few other countries over the next couple of years and meet up with some of these people. Like, dude, like Carlos Marcial, man, I feel like I've known this dude for like half my life at this point, but I've never actually met him in real life. And, you know, there's a bunch of people like that.
Yeah, no, I mean that's one of the extra benefits of this space. You get to meet. I mean, this is a global industry, right? As long as you have an internet connection, you're part of it. And there's so many folks from all over the world, some amazing countries, and you can activate your country by saying, "Yeah, we're just going to host something." And this NFC summit, it's something that folks have been talking about. Everyone that's attended it previously, like they can't say enough good things about it. Like WG Meets is going to be over there. When I met him down in Mexico City, he was just coming from the previous year's non-fungible conference. He's like, "Oh my God, you have to go there. Like you can't miss out
God
on it."
damn it, man. Give me FOMO.
Yeah, I know. No, like intentionally so. Like this is
Yeah, yeah,
one
fair
of
enough.
one of the events that it's a must hit apparently. So I'll let you know afterwards, and then you can come next year, man. We got to
Yeah,
make it,
I should,
hopefully.
dude. I mean, good for that event, man. I feel like they did something that a lot of events have not done very successfully in terms of, I mean, I guess it depends on what your goal is in producing these events, but I'm like, they did a pretty good job of like, you know, we talked about NFT NYC as being like sort of a central hub where you could count on a lot of people being at. And I'm like, Lisbon was not really like, at least for me personally, on my radar really up until last year. But like the fact that they did that last year and there was like a whole bunch of people there and enjoyed it enough to like all come back this year, I'm like, yo, that's hard to replicate, especially like in this climate where conferences are like fucking everywhere, man. If you wanted to travel like year round, you could at this point.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, folks are cooking up good things all around. So this is sort of the rub, right? Like digitally, things have devolved into what it is, but then like in real life, we have these really interesting groups of folks that are meeting up in like beautiful, interesting, sought after locations that are really fun to attend and leave you like soulfully nourished afterwards and excited to get back to the good stuff and building and like, you know, contributing and adding true value to this space. So yeah, everyone just needs to take a vacation and recharge and come back because people are just tapped out and we're like on fumes on Twitter.
It feels like it, right? It feels like everyone's patience is thin and like is really unimpressed with what's going on.
I mean, we have like artists attacking artists. It's like it's really bad, man. it's like there's a whole bunch of friendly fire going on at the same time. It's people just really need to disconnect.
Everyone take a break. Yeah, man. I mean, dude, I think about this, like, I've thought about this a few times recently, and like a conversation we had very early on when we started the whip and we were beginning the podcast, and you and I were talking, and we were like, is there really enough content and people interested in the content to have more than one like NFT / event per week? And that's how like nascent the space was, like, you know, not even really that long ago. And now you could just travel like around the world constantly, just going from thing to thing, like in real life. Like, you know, that's how much in real life content there is now versus like, you know, literally in a, you know, giant ecosphere that we're like, do people want more than one thing per week in the metaverse? It's so crazy, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, is that a segue to talk about what's happening with you and Async and the Whip this week?
It might as well be. Yeah. Yeah, man, I'm stoked. We've, you know, had Async on a million times, and I was like, I was a fan of their Forever Supper project and concept before I got up the guts to put a bunch of shit together for my own. But shout out like Conlon and No Shot. They like strongly encouraged me to put something together for my own like Forever Supper drop. And so I did it, man. It like took forever. They're on their, I think this is like 5th course or whatever. So I guess I should back up. If anyone's like not familiar with Async and their Forever Supper project, it's like basically an NFT of, you know, in a similar style of The Last Supper by Da Vinci, I believe. Kill me if I'm wrong. But the famous painting that I should know more about. But anyway, and then artists are making different characters and layers and items to go in this thing that you can swap in and out with other artists. And they got a stacked lineup of artists coming through making things that you can swap in and out of this layer. And it's fun. And I've been like, I picked up Skeeny's, I picked up Fabiano's, I picked up a handful of others that are slipping me at the moment. And, you know, they've been like reasonably affordable, and I don't know, man. I've always been like a super fan of Async just because I feel like, you know, they're one of us in terms of always trying to do something different and interesting with the technology. So I was flattered, man, to be asked to be part of it, and I was nervous that I would not be able to put together something respectable, you know, compared to the level of talent coming through there, but I'm pretty happy with what I came out with, man. I made like a whole bunch of stained glass frog pieces, like religious styled, like stained glass frog things to go in the background, so it gives it like a, you know, faux, you know, what's the word, blasphemous Forever Supper type of vibe going on. So I don't know, man. I wasn't trying to like overstep my artistry too much and like create the characters sitting at the thing, and my Photoshop skills suck, and you know, so I had all these concerns, but with a little hand holding, man, I put this thing together, and it's actually dropping the podcast. By the time this podcast drops, it'll be out. So I don't know, man. We'll we'll see how it goes. But they're on the whip tomorrow to talk about the project in general, and they were nice enough to line up my course with their event that they're having with us. Neon Glitch whipped up this awesome like Forever Supper thing. So spot in Hyperfi, I believe that's where we're hosting. So it should be dope, man. I honestly, like, in my journey to becoming like a fake AI artist or whatever, I feel really honored to just say I've done something with async. And if only a handful of people buy them, then I still get to say I did a drop with async. And that was like really the main goal of it, man. It's cool to be able to like flex my creativity in like different ways with like different projects in a way I haven't been able to up until this point. So I'm just fucking around and having fun, man. But stoked to be included, and always, having them back on the whip is like family at this point.
It really is. They always bring it too. They bring the whole crew. They have really, really solid, substantive updates. Everyone has fun. I'm really excited to see what they cooked up over in Hyperfi, to be honest, because their builds are usually always really cool. I mean, it goes back to like Commons, like OG, CV, like Gangnam District days, to be honest. It's really cool to have a project that's so tightly connected to the metaverse in that respect as well. And to have them keep coming through like they have been over the years. If not the most, like the guest with the most returns and appearances, like definitely one of like the top 3. So that's really cool. And then a dude like fucking around, having fun, LARPing as an artist. Like I think you can probably say like you are an artist at this point now, like given like your track record through this bear market. And that's awesome. I mean, that's exactly what bear markets are for. These sorts of things, having fun, not taking things too seriously.
Dude, it's interesting because now, the lines have really been blurred with AI. Photoshop just released this AI, I don't know what you call it, a plugin, or I don't even know how it works. I don't use Photoshop, but it basically allows people who use Photoshop to, use AI to generate, things beyond what they've created, or fill in blanks, or add additional scenery, or like, all this shit. And so, now AI is being woven into conventional art tools, or more conventional digital art tools in like a streamlined way that's like accessible to everybody. So I'm like, in the beginning, there's some scrutiny on AI being used as like an art tool, and I'm sort of LARPing as like a fake artist, but now the lines have really been blurred, man. So now maybe, now that I've done the async drop, I drop the fake part eventually, because I think, moving forward, it's going to be, the lines are going to continue to blur. You know what I mean? People are going to continue to have access to tools that enhance their real art, in a AI type of way, maybe just like a smaller way. But, all this stuff that people use now in Photoshop that's considered a part of real art is going to be AI-ified. You know what I mean? Like all these like lenses and layers and tweaks that people use to adjust their stuff. AI is going to be like that on steroids. So,
I think it already
I don't know, man. Maybe I got out in front of it a little bit.
Dude, Photoshop just released their AI integrations. Like it plays really well with Midjourney. I know Havo has been having a blast pushing out new outputs like every day. Like Havo, aka Kaitza, from way back, Sentes. He's been having a blast with that. So it's been cool to see his creations.
Yeah, it's fun, man. And dude, I agree. I feel like this is sort of like the fun part of this market, because I feel like expectations are really low, which also relieves a lot of the pressure. Like, for example, if I were to be doing this in a bear market, with all the spotlight on and, all this shit, and everything, and it's a different vibe. Whereas like, now, I don't know, a lot of the waste has sort of been drained and a lot of the eyeballs aren't on, and it sort of does give you the freedom to just sort of like experiment a little bit with like no pressure on. And, if it doesn't do that well, then hey, it was still like fun to do it. And, it's still like a feather in the cap, man, of just having fun with like the AI and making art and everything, being able to do something with async. So I don't know, man. I try to do my best to, no matter what's going on, man, like stick with the stuff that's like most interesting to me and tinker around with like what genuinely like inspires me to have a good time and everything. And sometimes it's hard to see through like a lot of the bullshit, but a lot of the tools and everything that are coming out, man, are just so fascinating to play around with. And I don't know how they eventually get integrated into Web3 in a way that like reinvigorates the space. But in the meantime, man, like we were saying before, the sideline seat / being able to, play around and hop on the field and give these things a shot when you want to is pretty fascinating time to live in right now. Oh, dude, there was this great quote by Eclectic Method like a week ago or so that was just like, I'm just paraphrasing. It was just like, "Congratulations, everyone, we made it to the future," or like, "We're here now," or some shit like that. And it is sort of what it feels like, man. I'm like, dude, the tech is incredible right now.
Yeah. No, it's incredible. It seems super accessible too. Like, what's the barrier? Again, you need to have an internet connection and be able to type on a keyboard for the most part, right? Like, it's incredibly low. As long as you have a little bit of patience to like kick the tires and figure out what's what, like you can do some really, really cool shit. And there's a whole bunch of people that are open to doing cool shit together with other people on the internet. It's like everything you could want to have fun. Again, like there's a bunch of scammers out there. Like we're no longer in Eden or whatever. So just like as long as people are like mindful of that fact, they're gonna have a pretty good time and create some really cool shit.
Well, it's also interesting, man. So like, early on when AI sort of fell into the scene, I signed up for like all of the, beta access lists to like try all the things and everything because I was just interested in like you're saying, man, just kicking the tires is just fascinating for me. So I signed up for all the things. I'm like, yep, I want early access to that. So I'm on like all the email lists and like, you definitely see like the AI nuclear arms race like across all of these competitors playing out in real time, man. Like the rate at which like all these different apps and projects are shipping updates and then like updating their community about the updates is just like, guess what? We've like, enabled the ability to make AI videos 4 seconds longer. And like, that's like the big announcement. And it's like, man, like every little like small iteration that they can get one leg up on like the next person gets blasted out. And then, you get another email from someone else. It's like, we've lowered the barrier to like something. And it's just like, damn, man, it's happening like right this second.
Yeah. And like everything that's happening on the AI side, all those incremental updates that are happening so quickly, like people that are living on the internet, these are just more tools that they have to do things with. Like I was just thinking about this the other day. Like all these tools, they just speed up everything. They just add this incredible amount of speed to doing things that used to take much longer and require like way more expertise. And you can sort of imagine how folks just start almost like de facto permanently living in the digital sphere because the tools are so good. You can do so many things. You can create way more. And then once this kind of is overlaid into like persistent virtual spaces, then I think it's game over. Once this translates into like the games that people are actually playing or can play, especially the multiplayer ones, like, oh my God, dude. Like why would you ever leave? All this shit is going to be so fun and you're going to be with your friends or like potentially new friends or people that are just like having a blast doing whatever you're doing over and over and you're just going to stay here longer and longer. Like this is how it happens. Like the metaverse unlock feels like we've just been missing AI and the ability to create so much more digitally and just stay digitally for longer.
Dude, it's fascinating to watch my kid who's 10 like tinker around with some of this stuff because he's like very interested in it all like adjacently with like the video games and stuff that he plays. And so to see him like tinker around with Midjourney, he'll be like, hey, can I do some prompt or whatever? And just fiddle around with it and see what he can crank out. And he's savvy enough that he can build a little bit in like Hyperfy and drag and drop some GLBs in there and just like move them around and stuff like that. And I'm like, man, like these tools are like that accessible right now to him. Like, just imagine where we're going to be in like a year, 2 years, something like that. Like, just in terms of how easy it is to do some of these things for a 10-year-old, you know what I mean? Let alone like, once the tech gets more streamlined and, accessible to everybody. So it's just sort of crazy, the progression of where we're at now. But I don't think so. Saying that to, sort of co-sign on your statement, man, I feel like I don't even think we're like too far away from something like that where, you combine all the right elements of something that he's interested in, and we may lose him for a decade or something like that in some sort of like gamified Minecraft Web3 experience where he can actually like, build things and sell them to people or some shit. So, we're so close to unlocking that for like a new generation of gamers and, kids coming up who just sort of are naturally inclined to use some of these tools already, that it's just fascinating to watch unfold. Like, and like we were saying, like in real time, he's interested enough that I'm like, when something new comes out, I'm like, hey, you want to see this? And he's like, yeah, and comes, checks it out. And, I just can't imagine being his age and having that level of access to this type of technology, and also not having to sit him in a classroom and force him to learn it. It's like genuinely interesting stuff that he's genuinely interested in, because it's sort of similar to, it scratches a lot of itches that he's already interested in, like, that normal kids are already, doing and stuff. So it's, I don't know, man, the whole thing is just nuts.
Yeah. And I mean, your kids, and I know some of the other children of artists that have been in this space for a minute, I feel like they're the first generation that we can probably like look back and say are crypto native, NFT native, like properly digitally native.
Yeah.
And what they'll be able to do in the not too distant future, like that shit's really wild to me. Like you see already glimpses of that like in our modern day, like over the past 10 years or so. There's always like once in a while like one of these like child internet prodigies who are just like coding crazy shit, doing crazy shit, like sending $75 billion from a Swiss bank account to their dad's like bank account, shit like that. That was like few and far between. But with all these kids that are already on the online now anyway, like
Yep.
adding these tools and like getting them into this space, like after that, oof, oh my God, man, it's gonna be boom time.
Right, dude. You remember like, summers as a kid, and I'm like making assumptions about your summers as a kid, but I'm like, dude, the ability to have that much free time as a kid to just dive into something head first for like as long as you feel like it or whatever is something that you don't really get a chance to do later on in life. And that's when a lot of kids build the foundations of becoming experts or like great athletes or whatever they've chosen to really dive into or dedicate their time to. So dude, I think you're 100% right, man. We're about to see like a whole new generation of people who grew up with these tools and had a lot more time and energy and access to think about these things and use them in interesting ways than we will have had at their age by a long shot. So yeah, man, it's crazy to think about that shit for sure.
Yeah. Well, I think we came full circle. We went from bad to really good, and now like rose tinted glasses looking in the future like this shit's gonna be fucking wild.
Yeah, except next thing I know, my kid's made a Twitter account. It's just like, send me ETH, please, sir.
That's just the future, dude.
Good shit, man.
Stoked for the whip tomorrow. That's going to be a good time. Everyone that's here, make sure you come out to that. We have a few more whips left until our summer vacation kicks in. I think like the last week of June, the last Thursday there, and then the first 2 weeks of July, we're gonna be on proper summer vacation, either traveling or doing things. So yeah, make sure you come to this whip, and we have like 3 or so in between. Get it in before summer vacation, and then you can't get your whip fixed for like 3 weeks.
It's gonna be tough, man, but we'll make it.
We'll make it. All right, brother. I'll let you get back to it, and see you in the metaverse tomorrow.
All right, dude. Have a great day.
Peace.
Later, man.